Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael. The grandkids call me Roo. Thanks for being on Roodoodles Live, 8:57. It's Tuesday morning. It's August. It's Maine and it's autumn. The lobstermen's boats come returning. Woo! Dan Fogelberg shot in my mind. It has been here lately because Carol and I are planning a trip to Maine this September, so if we can make it up there finally. And we'll see what happens. Never been in that part of the country, never traveled up there at all, shot by it a couple times, but no, we haven't really flown over it a couple times, but never been there. So we're going to go up and may find some lobster to eat, some boats to sketch. Going to do up a little painting while I'm there. Lord willing. Anyway, let me say hello to some of you. Here's a quick look at where I am this morning. There's the desk. It's showtime. And there's top of the morning to you. This reminded me of something I want to talk about today. This little painting that I put up here. Top of the morning to you. A little rooster. Whoops, bowing over. I painted this a long time ago. This one says 19 on it. So this one was done, 2019. So there you go. Always sign it. I always put a little signature there. Sometimes I put M for Michael. Sometimes I just put Michael. That makes sense, doesn't it? But, roodoodles.com is how people can find me. Let's see here. Let me say hello to some of you, and let me get started. Kilimanjaro Papers on here reminds me of my friend Michael Ashburn. I don't know if he's on the show this morning. He is back from Kilimanjaro. He went to Kilimanjaro with a group of young life folks. He actually climbed up to about, let me just draw a little picture of Michael right up here on the mountain. There he is holding his hands up. I don't know if it's pretty big, actually, but I think it's hard to see. He's right there. I just put him right there. Ash is my, he's my friend who, I eat more than he does. It's obvious. Or maybe his metabolism is different because he was on top of Kilimanjaro at 140 pounds. So he sent me a note. Unfortunately, it didn't get sent through all the rigmarole. Isn't it amazing? Sometimes, even up on Kilimanjaro, he says I could catch a little cell signal somewhere. Crazy, isn't it? Anyway, Kilimanjaro, 140 pound. This is Cheap Joe's paper, but there was Ash on Kilimanjaro at 140 pounds. He's going like, hey, I should give a shout out to Roo up on top because I'm always talking about Kilimanjaro. Let me say good morning to you, Patricia Deaton. Thank you for being on the show. Virginia Mann, Karen Bender, Kathy Morrill, Kathy Brousseau, and Westra. Thank you for being on the show. Annette Wall, Becky Bailey. I saw Becky Bailey's name on the show yesterday. She won a painting and chose a dragonfly. I'm pretty sure. No, I'm not just pretty sure. I know I'm sure because I painted it. I'm looking for it right now to see where it is. I put your name on it and threw it over here on the box. You had the option of the rooster or the dragonfly. There it is right there. Becky Bailey. See, it's going out in today's mail. I'll get it down out of the studio and down. There it is right there, all dried out. I like the way that yellow swept in there. Still very much a limited watercolor palette. So Becky Bailey, that one's coming to you. I've been on a dragonfly kick. Let me bow down here in my head. Here we go. Painted this one yesterday. Look at that one right there. Woohoo, baby. And that one, look at that one, just with a limited palette, greens and blues. Here's one that's kind of going the other direction. He's holding on to a limb here. I guess he could be sitting down. No, that wouldn't make sense because that would look like he's sticking out of a waterfall. So I drew water down here, which I don't do backgrounds very often. There's one, and then this is the fly painting. I did a couple fishing flies. I'm always doing fishing flies. So this reminded me, let me say, Becky, hi, Lisa Bryant, coffee, Roodoodle from an overcast and beautiful Colorado. Yeah, it's a little bit, it's actually peppering down the rain here right now, and we need it. The goat came and cut my grass. Thank you for the comments on that, and thanks again to my dear friend Denise Hammond, who runs, it's called Sugar Creek Farm, and it's not far from here. In fact, my wife named that farm. They said, we're going to call it my farm. And she said, well, isn't there something here that people know this area by? She said, well, Sugar Creek. Well, Sugar Creek Farms. I mean, come on, that's how people are going to find you. Anyway, it's a fun little farm. And she is a dear friend. We've done a lot of camping work together. When I say camping work, I mean going in and talking with kids. And I just went over and spoke to their folks recently. Chris Whitaker, thanks for being on the show. Pat Brooks, always a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. Barbara Pat, by the way, is the artist that did all the art in Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, and has her own crazy visual voice that people get. You see it, you know, Pat did that. That's just kind of fun. And that's where I want you guys to get. That's kind of what the push is here. What is the push for an old guy who doesn't teach watercolor to teach watercolor? No, it's just to encourage you to be creative, to be a maker. Life is way too short to just ride the coattails on somebody else's stuff all the time. You know, we watch TV shows. You think, well, somebody wrote that, somebody produced that, somebody put that together. We read books. We see art. Well, learn to make some of that. You can do it, and that's what this show's about. The show's about getting these to work, getting this, the heart I'm pointing at here, the heart to, and the mind to connect with some muscle memory and just create something. And don't be fooled by thinking it's all about the next video you watch or even this show or tools or anything else. It sometimes is just sitting down with the simpleness to do things over and over and over and over. And that's why the book Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle works. Thanks for your comments. I've had a couple comments that said, gosh, it wasn't what I expected. I was expecting all these helpful hints and tools, and I'm going like, no, never promised that. It's about a mental attitude of you saying, I can do this. I can just look at something and go over and over and over, build up a muscle memory and do that. That's why I stay behind the mule. Barbara Mayer, thanks for being on the show. Pauline Bold from Minnesota. Susie DeLay is not delayed. She's here on time this morning. DeRay Rostopov. Boy, I butcher some of your names. I bet you're sitting there going like this. God, that guy. Where did he go? Bluegrass Elementary School? Yeah, in Tennessee. Susan Peters, thank you for being on the show. Mickey DeYoung, Amy Van Diver Schro. Karen Binder, see, that was a name I messed up, not Karen's. Dolores Boland, Linda Linhart. Did I just see a note that said happy birthday? If I missed it, happy birthday. I don't do a lot of birthdays on this show because, well, there's a reason for that. They just move on and on and on and on. I still, my body says I'm late 20s. My brain, my rest of me says I'm at 100 to that 120 when I wake up some mornings. Sharon Clark, good morning to you all. Sorry, it's buffering this morning. I don't know what's causing that, and I do hope you can make lemons. It's coming out pretty fast here. I just did a check recently. I've been having some camera trouble, but no internet coming and going. I couldn't have down and up. So, you know, the internet is a flimsy cloak of civilization. Just remember that, okay? So we're having this community, and what happens tomorrow if, boop, it all goes black? Well, you shouldn't stop creating. You shouldn't stop reaching over the back fence and talking to neighbors or sending things out in the snail mail or getting a way to get your art and your comments and your thoughtful helps and prayers and ideas to other people. So you continue to be the community, okay? We just have the advantage right now of the thing that's kind of a love-hate relationship. Like the other day, I'm going like, come on, Facebook. I bought this song. So you see what I did? I went out and I just took that piece of music in question about because I hadn't had my rebuttal with them yet. They keep sending things back and forth. I'm going like, here, ask me and I'll show you the licensing, but I got to send it to the right place. And so I just changed the song. One that, they could have done the same thing, but I put the Toad. Everybody wants to play the Toad song, the Frog song. It's called Mr. Toad, I think, is the one that everybody's always talking about. And I don't know who did it. I'll look it up, but it's in a song service that I purchased. And so that's how I got it. Becky Soblinsky, thanks for being on the show. Lisa Ferrari from Brooklyn, Deborah Spanger, June Jones, Jack Wolfenbarger. Good morning to you, my friend. Blessings to you. Jack knows where Bluegrass Elementary School is. He didn't go there, but I met him pretty close right after that. Kim Sheets, good morning to you. Kim, I think of Kim often. I have a bar of soap that lies here that I should wash my hands with, but I really just scratch it off on the little wooden tray sometimes and put it by the fan. And man, it smells like clove and good stuff in here. Deborah Tauber, Donna Hamilton, beautiful day from Salisbury. Woo-hoo-hoo. I've been pencil sketching for over a month, and now it's time I watercolor, Donna Hamilton says. Donna, maybe. Let's just sketch for another day or two. But if you start with watercolor, Donna, listen, if you start gently and slowly. And so we'll do that today, okay? We'll just, but I love the fact that you're starting with a pencil sketch. It could be a pencil, a pen, scratch, charcoal, anything that makes a mark, a clay stone, the pistil of a lily plant will paint red. Just woke up, got my coffee here. Good, Chris. Glad you're here. Phil Willibarger, thanks for being on the show. Sue Kane, all the way from South Australia. Glad to have you on the show. Gene Onthalzer, Nancy Catlett, Bob, morning from the wispy cornfields of Iowa. Yeah, that wispy corn should be about wearing out. The roasted ears, as they call them here in the South, are falling off, and it should be ready to mow that down for silage. Bonnie Herbert, thanks for being on the show. Bonnie, is it Hebert? It's Hebert. Maybe you haven't seen Bonnie in a while, and I don't know if you're new to the show, but welcome if you're here. And thanks for your smiling face in that little shot. And I hope you think like an artist. If not, that's what this show's about. Terry Tardy, happy Ruse Day, everyone. Terry Tardy, Toddy. Terry Tardy needs a toddy. And turquoise. Potter friend of mine. And just, we met her and her husband, almost a year and a half ago now in Orlando, Florida. Had a lunch together. Just, boop, there we were. I actually made it up to my lab art studio and time to create. I like using the word lab because it makes me think I'm going to do something, I have one degree in life, and it wasn't from college. It was from a tech institute, and it's in, I have a PhD. Wait, the moment just stopped there and everything got quiet. You can hear a cowboy drop. PhD, yeah, it's a PhD in wastewater treatment. It's called Piled Hip Deep. And I had to go to a tech school. I was in charge of all these guys, and we had a activated sludge plant that was pretty big, and it was in this camp that we had, and we were on the front of the stream, and so we were responsible if anything bad happened to the stream. So we had to make sure that the effluent, the stuff that comes out of the treatment plant, was as clear as the water going in. I mean, not the water from our sewage, but from the mountain stream water. We had to match that water, so we had to build a lab, and so we all learned Imhoff cones and all the pipettes and everything. So we had to go to school. So I had to send like 6 guys to school, and I went, I'm going with you. And so we would drive down twice a week to a little town of Silva, Western Carolina, the university there. And we were trained and taught and studied and had to take a test and field trips. And so I used to have this diploma from North Carolina on my wall. And people would say, oh my gosh, I didn't know you went to North Carolina. And so I'd say, yeah, I got my PhD there. So they'd go over closer and they would lean in and they would look at it like this and they go, it says wastewater. And I go, yeah, my PhD is piled hip deep. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. There it is right there. Pat Brooks says, Linda Linhart, happy belated birthday. Holy smokes. Well, happy belated birthday. Pat Lightbody, Judy Walden. Thanks for being on the show, people. I'm going to jump down here just for a ways. Gosh, a lot of you are piling on. Hey, John Robert Small, Neary Lewis. Thank you. Is it Neary Lee Lewis? N-E-R-I. I love that name. Neary Lee Lewis. Greetings from Texas. Thank you very much. Appreciate you like the show. All right, here we go. Let's get started. I've been talking the last few days about limited palettes, and we'll stay on that a little bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to really, can you see this right here? Because there are a lot of new people on the show, a lot being between 3,000 and 5,000. That's how many possums get run over every day on North Carolina highways, between 3,000 and 5,000. I mean, between 3,000 and 5,000. Now, you were thinking I meant 3,000, 5,000. No, between 3,000 and 5,000 is how our government estimates crowds. There were between 2 and 20. There were between 3 and 10,000 people there. And you're thinking, oh, 3,000 people is a lot. No, I mean 3. So there could have been 5 people there. So that's how I estimate things. So I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, so on our roads, but so between 3,000 and 5,000 people have said, and it's probably been more like 7 or 8 in the last couple of days. I either get an email or I get a note through Facebook. I get a note on this page and comments that says, "What pen did you use? Tell me about which brush you're using. Tell me about," and I did all this in the first 100 days in all my classes, and I'm getting ready to do another class. Yes, I'm going to do it. Thank you to all those who responded yes yesterday. I'll set it up in the calendar. I've got a couple exciting things coming up. Got a class coming up. Roodoodles, that's me, is going to have an auction real soon in August. And then we're helping, I'm helping, and you guys hopefully will help me as a community with some artwork. And also, listen to this, be a part of this auction because some of the David's Table, Skeeter Powell works with a group of special folks that was called David's Table. And some of them have severe disabilities, and some of their disabilities have made it hard for them to do camp and to go places and paint. So, it's one thing when you pull up to a suburban school and you ask folks to get on the bus and go to camp with you, and they get to ride rope and run. And it's another thing when you pull up to a home and it takes you another 20 minutes to get the ramp down and get the chairs loaded in and locked in and take people who have to roll around in their life. The same heart, the same mind, the same mentality goes into that as they need to go and be a part of these camps, and they need to sing and have fun. And so this camp caters to them. So we're going to help raise some money for them to go to camp, and we're going to do that. And I think right now that if you got your pencil, and you better have a pencil if you're watching this program, or a pen, write this down. I think I'm going to do an auction, just Roodoodles it's going to be Roodoodles and Shrimp Doodles and Dragonflies and Fishing Flies and Old Man Odds and Ends. That's 5 things. I'm just going to throw out some and have a little auction. I'm going to do that on August 13th. I think that's a Friday night. So put that down. And then I think on August 27th, we're going to have a knockdown drag out auction for some special artwork and help raise some scholarship and some just some camp money to get to these folks who have to take special aids and people with them to help them have a wonderful week at this property. And they're going to a camp in right on the North Carolina, South Carolina border. It's Young Life owns this property. I'll show you some photographs of it. It's spectacular. And it was built with these kids in mind. Roll the wheelchairs right into the pool. There's no steps, no lift over. It's just like zip. You just go right in negative lines. It's like dining hall straight in. The big performance room where they go in and have music and fun and skits and laughter and gospel talks is all just roll right in. It's spectacular. It was built for that in mind. So I'm off and running on that. Okay. Here we go. All right, so write those down if you would. Come on in and sit a spell, John Robert Small says. Welcome to the best group on Facebook. Oh, thank you so much. Jason says, count me in. Jason will be out cranking up his lemonade. Hey, and I know many of you are watching Jason with his inspiration piece that he does, and I know that John Robert Small's been doing some acrylic stuff. Pat's got things going. Chris Whitaker has got a book. I mean, you guys, look what's happened in your art world. So I've gotten 3,000 to 5,000 people who've sent me a note and said, go through this real quickly. So here it is. Before I sketch and paint something real fast, pay attention if you want to pay attention. If not, now'd be the time to go get another cup of tea. I've heard all this before. So that's an old Red Skelton line right there when he's reading a poem by Rudyard Kipling that he just blew apart, and it was called Frogs running down the road, frogs. It was written by Rudyard Kipling. It was called Boots. And so as he's getting ready to read the poem, to the audience, you see him tearing up a napkin from dinner, and he starts sticking little pieces of napkin in his ears like I've just done here. And he goes, oh, I've heard this before. I don't need to hear it again. Red Skelton was my favorite genius clown. Hey, this is the pen that I sketch with most of all right here. Take a look at this desk shot, okay? See this pen right here? It's a Pentel. It's an inner gel. If you're taking notes, now's the time to take them. If you have to go get a pen to take a note, the next time you tune into my show, have a pen and a piece of paper there. Okay. It's a Pentel, Pentel, inner gel. It all rhymes. Pentel, inner gel. Okay. It's an 05. It has an 05 there. That means 5 little millimeters. Okay. And it is, listen to this, write this down, needle point. Don't just go get, it's an inner gel. It's big ballpoint. No, get needle point, just like, ouch, needle point. Pentel inner gel needle point. That's if you like sketching. Now, why do I like sketching with this? I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you so it really shows up. I'm going to show you one time again. Some of you have seen this. Many of you have done this. Those of you who are just joining me, like for instance, Elaine, I love Red Skelton too, and he amazing. And I just forgot who said hello that you've been sketching and now you're going to paint. Forgive me. Jen, thank you for liking to take the class. There'll be information. Never underestimate the estimated estimate. Jason, you're not wired right, buddy. You got a great storytelling brain. It's coming. So look, this is a piece of Fabriano paper, and it's studio watercolor, but it's hot press. Okay, it is not cold press paper. It's hot press paper. That means that think of this shirt. It's not wrinkled and lumpy, and it's not got what we love about that cotton. 140 pound. It is 140 pound, but about those ridges that just capture all those pigment colors. This is a little smoother. It's been pressed hot. It hasn't been rolled out cold. That's the difference. When you go to the art store, I would recommend starting with cold press. But I know that Chris and Jim, I know several of you love hot press paper because of the way the watercolor just takes off. It skates across the paper. So if you're just starting, start with cold press or rougher paper. Hot press will come a little later when you're using less water, less pigment, and you're letting it take off. This pen, here's what I do so you see how this pen works. I just make a little block like this, and then I jump in. And I'm not going to do this the whole way this morning. And I just put a little bit of water on there, and look what happens. Can you see that right there? That pen bleeds a little bit, just like that. The more water I put on there, the more this ink will break down. So Phil, you were asking about this the other day. You were saying all my pens are archival, okay? The rival in archival, they fight the box. No, it means that they're permanent. This is a permanent pen once it dries, but before it dries out, and even it'll wake up with some water, it literally bleeds. I call it bleeding. It literally dissolves. The ink dissolves, and I use that as a part of a color. This is another pen that I use quite often. It's a stylus pen, and it's made by Yasutoma. They don't make it anymore. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I'm going to drift away from my desk. I'm over here on the other side of my studio. Okay, I'm coming back. Thought I had one laying down here, and I took it down to sketch with it this morning. This is a stylus pen, and watch what it does. It's going to go a completely different color. Can you see that right there? Look at that. This one is more Randy Donna Buckley, Payne's Gray. This is more of a little blue hue to it. This is Yasutoma's other pen that's just come out, and it's called... this one you can find. It's called the Gel Extreme, and it's an 05. Gel Extreme by Yasutoma. And take a look at what it does. It's going to go back and do a little bit more blue-gray, a little purple tint to that. So you see that? It's hard for you to see. A little more Payne's Gray, a little more blue, a little more purple in this pen. So all these pens bleed. Now, that's nothing compared to a fountain pen. This is a Lamy. Sounds like, maybe not. Hadn't had this pen out of the box in a long time. It's a Lamy pen. This, by the way, is one of my favorite fountain pens. The nib on this pen is a medium. So be careful. It's bold, and it makes a big, bold strike. They make a fine point for this, but I'll show you my other fountain pen. This is a fountain pen. Why do I sketch with fountain pens? Because I think early artists sketched with them. I think they started with feather quills, but look at what this one does. This thing really breaks down when you put it in here, and you're going like, wow, it's Payne's Gray, but it has more than the other pen. So then I get into Speedball ink and I get into Kakuno. This is a fine point pen here. Kakuno, Kakuno. And if any of you want more of this, you can send it on down. I had another pen here somewhere. Here it is. This is the ultra fine Kakuno pen here. So it's a fountain pen also. So you get those two. And so why do I use these? Look at that ink. And that's Kakuno ink. This is the fine. This is the ultra fine. So what I have here in those 1, 2, 3, 6 pens, I have all these different bleeds. Why are those important? Because if I'm out sketching and all I have is my pen, and so what's the difference between that and a pencil? Well, a regular graphite pencil is just going to make a mark like this, and then you're going to have to get it to, water's not going to affect it. You could rub it with your finger and get a little bit of a fun color if you're out sketching. You could get a layout pencil like this one and see what happens to it. Look at that, it's a lot more. And you can also find probably a sketch and wash, which is a pencil that's made just to do that. You literally drop, I don't see one up here on the desk, but you can do that. So I recommend that if you're just sketching with pencil, throw that away. I recommend if you're just sketching with pencil, sketch with it or sketch with a pen that you know is going to bleed. Where would I use that? Limited. So I've been talking about, so there's a couple of my pens, okay? A couple of my brushes my go-to brushes are always the same 4 or 5 brushes. These are American Journey Interlock Nylon. That doesn't mean they're not inexpensive, but they're not outrageously expensive. This brush, though, could run you 18, 20 bucks, but this brush I'll have for 10 years if I treat it nicely. That's a long investment, okay? So, hey, if I get $1 a year out of a brush, this is, and that's a number 10. Here's a number 3. There's probably another number 3 laying here, or number 1. That's a rigger brush, long bristle on the end. These are all American Journey brushes. You can use Lowell Crowe. You can use Winsor Newton. There's just so many brush companies. I get names all the time. People say, oh, I love these brushes. These are the best brushes ever. Some of my best brushes were the brushes that were given to me. But actually, my best brushes to me were the ones that I went down and laid some money down on. Boom. I happened to be in Boone at Cheap Joe's. I fell in love with the brush, and I just never went back. I didn't even know what these brushes were called for a long time, other than they were bamboo. I didn't know there was a company that had even marked them. And then one day, I had one laying in a photograph, and I got a phone call from these people in California who said, one of our marketing people saw one of your paintings, and you had one of our brushes laying in it. And I went, what do you mean one of your brushes? I paid her. She said, no, it was a bamboo brush, and we're Yasutoma. And that's how my Yasutoma relationship started. And I went, oh, Yasutoma made that brush. And I started looking at my brushes, and there I found the name, Yasutoma. Wasn't even paying any attention to it. And these are bamboo. I love them because they hold so much water. They're fairly inexpensive. They're lightweight. They're long. They make me get back here on the handle and dance around. And so those are some of my favorite brushes. I do use a lot of these water brushes. So if you haven't used a water brush in a while, you might have fun using one of those. These are also made by Yasutoma. This is a Niji, N-I-J-I. And so what's the point of a water brush? Water brush would be if I just wanted to go in here and get myself a little bit of water on this brush. I've got water in the brush. You know, what the heck is he doing now? Okay. So when I'm somewhere where I don't know if I'm going to have water or if I'm in a restaurant, see, I just took a little bit of green. I put it on that guy right here, and I'll just grab a little bit of blue here. Limited palette. By the way, Make sure you clean your brushes out good before you put them back in your palette. Okay, those of you who are just doing this. So what do you got there? Got a guy fly fishing, huh? I saw a little sketch like this by Oman recently, and I thought, well, that's a cool little sketch. And so it's just a little guy painting in the stream. And fisher person. Yeah, he's a fisher person. There you go. He's a little fisher person. That would be a fisher person. He could be a fisherman, but he's a fisher person, according to John Robert Small. And so there's a little bit of splash coming out right there. So he's just dropped in a fly rod. Maybe I like the fact that his other hand's out here like this. And maybe he's pointing at the fish saying, I'm going to tell you what, I just tied this fly. And if you don't bite this fly, I'm going to go back to my truck and get my scuba gear. And I'm coming down there. We're going to have a talk. Something like that, you know. So that's the concept of this little bamboo brush, or this little brush. So look. If I squeeze a little water out of this brush, there's a little, can you see that little drip of water right there? Look, I'll squeeze another one right here. Look at this. See, it just dripped out. You can't just squeeze and like a faucet. You got to learn to control this. As the dad would look back in the back seat and say to the boy, hold your water, son. I'm just telling you here without being crude or rude. You got to learn to control the water if you're watercolor painting. Now, I just swept through that in his hat. So I messed that top part up, but that's okay. I'll just dab it out there a little bit. Might come back in. Might do this red. Might do a little red on his hat right up there like that. Look at that right there. Okay. So now I've just created this fisherman who's got a little cloud stroke. How fast is a sketch painting if I want to do that? So if I'm out and about and I've got this and this, and a piece of paper, or a paper tablecloth at a restaurant, or Michelle would say, if I have a receipt from somewhere, I can make art. Just have to learn to control the water. So I keep a couple brushes. I keep a little brush in my pocket at all times. Here it is right here. This is a little brush. It just pops open like this, boom. And then this part goes in here. There's my little paintbrush right there. So I can dip it into my tea. And I can come in here with my tea, and I can paint a little bit of watercolor with my tea. And yeah, don't be concerned that I'm drinking toxic paint. They're watercolor paints. Limited palette, if you've been sketching, is a way to start. Please, please, please. Small work. I do small work. Why? Because everybody can find a place to frame a small piece of your work. Where's my little tool here that I reach in here? This is a easy pad. Get this thing off here just by sticking this under the piece of paper. I feel like I ripped off two. Shouldn't have done that. Wasn't paying attention. Okay, I'm like the man that didn't have enough money to pay attention. There we go. Nope, still ripped off two, I think. Yep. Okay, well, there we go. So throw that over there, and I got a single piece here that I'll paint in a minute. I like partial pads, but I like full pads too. Okay, so did I help a little bit with that? I found my old Schaefer pen that I used in high school 50 some odd years ago. Pat, that is awesome. Here's what you should do. Take that thing, take it all apart, drop it in just a couple drips of bleach, in some clear water, and just soak it all real good and get it all cleaned up, and then let it lay and dry out, and then put it back together. And go get some Schaefer ink. You can find it at one of these office supply stores. Use the ink that came with the pen. That's what I do with Lamy. I order refills that go in here, and they're from Lamy themselves. This one's going to, as a matter of fact, I might just put one in there. So I carry on my desk every now and then, about once a year or so, I'll take all these parts of the pen, I'll drop them in a little cup of water with a little bit of bleach, and I'll be ready to fly. This is the Lamy refill right there. How do I know? Because these are the Kakuna ones. I have committed them to memory. See, this one's shaped. This one has a square nose. This one has a bullet nose. These are the little... These are the little speedball ones that go in my other fountain pen, my old Hobby fountain pen, which was about 30 years old too, actually. This one right here. So, but what I do is I take all my pens apart every now and then, just do a little bit of maintenance on them. And this pen, by the way, I've got a little ink on my hand, but it's not from this pen. It's from my old pen, trying to get it to write. This pen, by the way, is not outrageously expensive, probably $16, $20 online. And I'll tell you something about it. It is one of the most maintenance-free pens I have ever used. And right now it's refusing to screw back on, just like it's right there. It is right there. It's called the Safari pen, and it's from Lamy, L-A-M-Y, pronounced L-A-M-Y, not Lammy, but Lamy. Can you see it there? L-A-M-Y. Okay. Oh, I like putting the daub of extra paint on the lid of the micro Altoid box. Yeah, that works great. Now, this box I hadn't even filled up yet. I've been carrying one for 10 years. There's my 5 little pens ready to go in. But I'll use this little extra dab of paint right here. See that? I know I'm going to use a little purple. I went 10 years with only these colors right here. Just, that's it. And now I've added a little bit of spring green. I've added Terry Tardy turquoise, which is really Andrew's turquoise. And I've added a little bit of royal from purple, which is called royal something, amethyst, I think. And then there's a little spot of orange there. And then sometimes I'll mix over here in this mess of the lid. And also sometimes I'll do this. I'll just go in here and I'll wet this all down over here on this side of the lid. And I'll just get a mess going over here like this, see all that? And then I'll go get a piece of paper towel and I'll wipe this section out right here. Can you see what I'm doing right here? Look at this. I'm wiping this section out. So I've just cleaned up my floor a little bit for the next little painting I might want to mix over there. And what do I mix? I mix a little bit of this red and yellow and a little bit of the French gray, and that'll give me the leg color for my roosters. So when I say limited palette, this is 3, 4, 6, 15, 16, 16, 16, 17, 18. There's 19, 20. There's 21, 23 different colors in here. Really? Like, what do I need 23 colors for when all of them are right here in these 3? But just to make it easy and quick if I'm out field sketching, this has 6 colors with about 3 little dabs. So at 10 colors here, I can do anything that I can do with this. I just can't do it as quickly. But sometimes I can do it quicker. Weird, huh, that I said that? Because remember, I'm not trying to decide, oh, do I want to go over here and get this? Or do I want up there this rose or this peach? No. I just want this and let it blend together. You don't mix watercolor. You can. But you don't have to mix watercolor like you mix oil paintings, okay? What just happened there? Come on. All right. I apologize for my email. It's just firing at me here like 1,000 miles a second, and I forgot to turn it off. Okay. What are the basic colors in the bottom of the tin? Joe's Red, Hot Mama Red, or Red Hot. One of those 3, and sometimes all 3. I own all 3 of those tubes. These are all American Journey paints. American Journey. They come in a little tube from Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. And in fact, if you want to know the colors that I use, the 6 colors that I use all the time, go to Cheap Joe's Art Catalog and whoops, just knocked over a whole thing of pens. If you want to know the colors that Roo uses all the time, go to Cheap Joe's online and go to, what page is it? I should know that by heart. Page 52. If you go to Cheap Joe's catalog, but you can also just go to Cheap Joe's online and in their search, just search Roodoodles. Just go Roodoodles and this page will come up right here. And it'll show you this little thing right here, watercolor sets, and there's Roo right there. Yeah, this is the 2021 catalog. So there it is, and here are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors that I use all the time. It even mentions you guys too about. It says storyteller created a following on his Facebook page, and the other write-up that they've done for me talks about the community, which is you. But anyway, I love what Brian did on this too. If you want to order this whole set right here, which comes with this little box and a little spray bottle and a Yasutoma brush and 2 Cheap Joe brushes, and actually this, I think it's about $90, but really this stuff's pretty expensive. This is going to last you a long time. Here's the whole bin spray bottle, one of these right here. That's how I started. I painted nothing but this for like 10 years. That was it. Wherever I went, my journal and this paper, that's what I did. The yellow is New Gamboge, Joe's Red, Ultramarine Blue, Andrew's Turquoise, Terry Tardy Turquoise, French gray and lamp black. There's a Yasutoma brush here, and there's also a 2 and a 4 Cheap Joe's brush, which has the green handles. If you wanted to order that, you could go in on their catalog and you could type in AJ, that stands for American Journey, type in ROO, ROO, -857, and it would come up. That's Brian's doing. So that's in the catalog right there. So if you want to know those colors by name and how to order them from their catalog, that's the best way to do it right there. Okay. All right. Do they ship to Canada? I think they do. I think they do. Sue Kane says, I ordered the Roo set. It is great. So there you go. They shipped it to South Australia. I love it. So Brian and Cheap Joe and Megan and all you people up there in Boone, God bless you for, they're family run and operated, and they're good friends that I don't see hardly at all anymore. My son went to Appalachian State, so I used to go by there and pester them. And long before I even knew I'd be painting. So, all right, let's paint something here because it's 20 till. But I wanted to take this show and tell you several important things because I've had a lot of people send in notes. Jason, you need your own collection of pens. Yes, he does. And that'll happen one of these days. 52 rhymes with Roo. Easy to remember the page. 52 rhymes with Roo. There you go. And then you can order, say 52 rhymes with Roo, but you just go American Journey, AJ, Roo, 857, and the set will come up on the search. Okay. Any questions I need to answer this morning other than pens? I sent out several personal notes yesterday about pens in between phone calls and work and what I do for a living. Jason's loving his lamb. Yeah, you're loving your Lamy Safari. Yeah, it takes a while, you know. Don't let... Okay, I'm reading comments here. Don't want to end up in Facebook jail, John Robert Small says. Pronoun sensitive. You are wired funny, okay? And I'm glad you've been in touch with Skeeter. Julie Norton Stevens, Pat was welcoming Julie to the program. Julie, if I missed your name, I probably did because that's the first time I've called it out. So I missed so many of you on here because I get telling a story and I get going down that. And anyway, had one of those evenings where I wanted to take you on another little journey for a limited palette. And I was just going to say, let's do a black and white here. And and maybe a pencil, something. So here it is right here. Now, this is the notebook that I use the most of the time. You're thinking, wow, there's not a lot of real estate there. But hey, it's great to learn small. Start small, start quick. And that's what it is. I just rip out a page like this. And I love this wire. And by the way, I haven't measured this wire, but it is some strong wire. I love the fact that they made it so stiff that it's hard to break. I do like using a fountain pen. Just like, for instance, this painting right here, I'll show you. Where's the painting I had this morning that I started the show with? I am such a mess when it comes to things up here on the desk. Oh, well, I'll just paint it like this. I was going to paint this Roo that I do, who's sort of bowing down like this. And, man, this paper is bright white. It is just some of my favorite paper because of the way the paint pops on it. So this is how I might sketch this Roo if I were doing top of the morning to you. So you see, I've got this Lamy fountain pen. So all this is in pen. So I'm going to take the lid off of that one or put the lid back on that one. I'm going to go open this one up. This is Speedball ink, and I'm going to go in here on the tail. And yet maybe I'm not. Maybe I need to do maintenance on this one a while. I haven't painted with it. Nope, it's happening. It's just been a while. See, I've already stuck the other one to my finger. I can do the show sometimes and never get ink on myself. And other times, I do have one pen here that I didn't show you, and I'm not going to. I should, just in case. But I want to talk to the company about it first before I disown it. I want to tell them, hey, you guys sold me this pen telling me it was the cat's meow, and it won't even let the cat in the door. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go in here and just hashtag this. I'm using nothing but 4 fountain pens, and I'm just going to go in and I'm just putting some different little marks with all these pens. Go in here and just do some of these little tick marks like this. Tick, 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 like you were drawing birds in the sky when you were in Miss Wilson's 3rd grade class. Or Miss Skelton. I had them both. And also Miss Rowland. She switched classes on me. I had Miss Rowland in the 1st grade, and it was something. I was in a public school, and we got a grade for memorizing the Psalm 150. We couldn't do that today. You would be thrown in jail. But she, when I went to the 3rd grade, we got a new teacher, and it was Miss Rowland. I said, wait, I had you in the 1st grade. She goes, you got me again. I'm going, oh my gosh. She was tough. Her name was Monty Rowland. Her husband's name was Ransom. I remember all that stuff, man. My brain. I wish it worked on what I had to do tomorrow, but it doesn't. It works on what I did 2,500 years ago. Okay. So there's a little bit of, I think you can see what I've done with this. Let me just go back in here and throw a few more lines of this up in here. I want you to see what's going to happen. This is when you're out sketching, and like if I'm up in Maine and I've got a sailboat that I want to pull the dock line from out there like this, or here, I'll just put a little sailboat right here. What's this? There. There. Well, what rooster wouldn't want to go out and just do a little sailing? So, you know how you blow the sailboats across the thing. All right. So there it is right there. So there's my little sketch, and I'm just going to grab one of these bamboo brushes. Why? Because this is a number 0. This is a number 0. I don't know their numbering system yet, but I just pick them by the shape and the length of the blade. Like I have all these here. See, I could have chosen a big old honking brush. I could have chosen this 100 here. Is this the 100? Man, this thing is a rock'em sock'em robot. And I could have chose this one. All these are great. This one especially is cool right here. So if I wanted to just really pile a lot of water in there, I could fill this mop up. Look at that thing. And I could just come in here and start to dance it full like this. And what happens is, if I back off on the weight, okay, I'm pulling back here. I don't press this in. If I back off on the weight, I get to use this wonderful tip. This is why these were so good in Asian art for calligraphy. So I just back off and I just let the brush dance across the water. If I want to go in deeper, I can come in here and pile some water in and then just let that water do what it does. I can actually ask it to move around a little bit by moving my paper up and down some. If my paper's on a board, which sometimes you guys know I paint on boards like this, zip, so I can just pick it up real easy and move it around. So I've got it on the board, and I'll blow it out a little bit. Some of you take a straw sometimes, I know, and do that. You know what would make a great straw? Ooh, take out one of these and use a bamboo. We haven't done that yet. All right, so then I come in here and I'll get a smaller brush. Clean out your brushes. Listen to this. Every time you hear this sound, that's me washing my brush out in a mason jar of clean water. It was clean when I started. It's still kind of clean. I don't put dirty brushes back into my paint. Come on, don't do that. I'll come in here and I'll get and just dance in here a little bit and let that fill up. Just black and white. So if you're out and about and you're just doing a black and white sketch, this is all how it started. You know, you can still buy just art charcoal if you want. It's charcoal sticks are fabulous to get a hold of and buy. I just love them. So I wind up painting this black and white painting that I really do like. And then I can just touch water in places. And then I can actually, look at this, come in here and roll my brush around in this darker pigment and then just kind of splatter a little bit like this. Tut, tut, tut. And you see it coming down. Now to really make this kind of cool, watch this. I'm going to do a little French painting here out of it. Why? Because The French love red sails. I don't know why that is. Never really asked them. So I was going to do black and white, but I'm just going to do a little limited color here. I've only got 2 colors so far. There it is right there. There's the water rolling out. And so I'm done. I just painted a little Roo playing with a sailboat. Hey, they're kids, like we are, okay? And so why roosters? Well, because my name is Han, and it's German. It means rooster. And so my grandkids call me Roo, so that's why I sign on like I do. If you're new to sign on the show, there it is right there. So there's a little, now what I can do is I can come back in with a pen, with a pencil, and do a little detail if I wanted to later. I come back in once this dries, put in some toenails, some wispy little feathers coming out here like this, even some detailed feathers up in here when that continues to dry some. So it gives you an idea of limited palette. I just am on this kick right now, and I think some of you, if you wanted my 2 cents, and you do because you've actually called a couple times, or not called, but you sent me notes and said, hey, Roo, what do you think about this? And I'll go, I'm the wrong guy to tell you, but I will tell you this. You didn't put the brush down soon enough. You should have put the brush down and backed away from the easel a little before now, and you would have enjoyed this painting more. Just because you have some white paper left doesn't mean you have to fill up the whole page. Just let it go a little bit. Just have some fun with it. So that gives you a great idea. Could you do the same thing with, what if you didn't have white paper? What if you had black paper? Now there's a thought. Okay, there's a little piece of black paper. This is Stonehenge. I think Michelle gave me this with a couple of little papers as a sample thing. She wrote Roo on it there. So how am I going to paint on black paper, negative, reverse? I'm going to use a white pen. This is one I didn't tell you about. It's made by Uniball. It's Signo, Signo, S-I-G-N-O. It's a Uniball, and it's white ink. And these pens last for a while. They tend to get clogged very easily in watercolor. So you're constantly going to have to go back to the paper towel and do a little cleanup. Let's see, is there any more questions here? Love the limited palette. Thanks, Jen. It'll work with you so much. Love the black and white. Yeah, come on. Sometimes just do that. Just go out and take a sketch journal and take a pencil. I'm going to do one more piece. In fact, I was going to do one before I started this. Look at this right here. One of my favorite little paintings I do is with this layout pencil. I do this little, some of you have one. I do this little bluebird, and I just do this little bluebird like this. I do his little head round with this pencil like so. Then I come down and I make his little round body like this. And his little eye right here. Everything's little because, well, he's a little bird. And then I'll come in, and then I just come in here and do some squigglies. And then he's got to have a little wing coming down like this. This is a 555 General's layout pencil, 555 General's layout pencil. Probably find these at Michael's, or you may have to order them online. Some art stores don't carry them. Some do. So I'm going to go in, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put his leg down here like this, and just a little scattered out leg with his feet. And I'm going to put this one over here, so it's kind of scattered out like this. So you get, he's a little off balance. He's a little baby bird. He's got a little bit of a tail feather here. Now, what I'm going to do right now, you see that? He's coming in. It's going to be one of my little bluebirds, layout pencil. Now I'm just going to take my index finger, and I'm just going to rub it around in this 140-pound rough paper. This is cold press. And so I'm just pulling a little of that in there. Look at that. Look what happens. I just shaded it like that. You know, they make a tool for that. It's called a stump. You don't need it. God gave you a great one. It's called index finger. Now I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to grab, where's that little, here it is right here. Here's this little extreme gel from Yasutoma. I'm going to grab that. I'm just going to go in here, grab a little bit of this. I'm going to do this eye. Left a little white in the eye. Why? Because we have white in our eyes. Dead things catch a fish. Their eyes look bright, and about 5 minutes later on the bank, their eyes are just glazed over, gray. The eye of whatever you paint needs to have some life in it, and so that light will do that. Just like a holiday will do in painting, it'll give it light and life. Holidays are leaving those blank spaces in there. So there you have a little of that. And I'll come in with this brush. Let's see, what am I using? I'm using a number 2/0. So this is a longer length, but it's still zero. It's just a little stretched out. This is a Yasutoma brush. Most of the brushes that we give away on this show are 2s, 1s, and 3s. Well, those are great brushes to start with. Okay. In fact, I still love painting with my my number 1 right here, which is all worn off. I'll just paint with this right here. I'm just going here and I'm using limited water. I'm just dropping a little bit of water in here. Limited palette, limited water. Trust me. And then I'm going to come in right here and I'm going to get a little bit of this ultramarine blue. And I'm just going to start by dropping some in and letting it just move around. Don't brush it. Don't try to paint the whole bird. Don't try to go, oh, I got to get up in here. No, just let it follow the water. And then follow down here on this wing. Way too much. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start to push that around a little bit with just a little bit of water. And I'm going to come in and darken it up here. I'm just pushing the paint. I'm letting it really glide into following its path of least resistance, following the water. Going in here to get some of this orange because bluebirds have a little orange on their belly like so. And then they have just a touch of Payne's gray. What? Well, you got to put some of that in there. It's going to look a little green with my brush being a little dirtier. Black, lamp black on the beak right there, and a little black shadow under here like so. If that's too much, then I'll just add some more water and let it just fade away to the blue. I think I still need some of this blue right there. All right, I got 5 minutes to go. I was going to show you one more little painting here. I'll do that. So look, limited palette. I've used 3 colors. I've used a black, which some of that came from my pen. I've used a pencil. That doesn't count. I've used ultramarine blue, and I used a little touch of yellow gamboge. May have had a little bit of orange in it. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's a little touch of orange, so I cheated on you a little bit there. But when I put that in there, it's going to have a little bit of green. So what I've done is I've just made myself a little bit of a bluebird there, and I did that with a pencil in less than 2 minutes. So don't spend all day. This is how you can paint fast when you're out and you're bird watching and you go, yeah, I used to have a camera, but now I just sketch the birds that I see. How fun is that, huh? That's a great little bird, okay? Even if I did say that myself. Now what I do is I'd come in here with a pen, maybe like so, maybe just a little bit of a felt tip marker, come in, just create a little bit of shadow underneath the bird with this pen like so. Look at that shadow. Look at what that pen did. Woohoo, baby. And then maybe a little bit of purple there. So that's why I might cheat in here. That's that little dab of purple in the lid. Remember? I use this more for shadow than anything else. Just grab a little of that purple right there and just touch it in. You know, the bird's blue, the sky's coming down. Maybe just drop a little bit of splash around him. Watch this. I'm going to roll my brush right here and this very gently. And then I'm just going to grab my other bamboo brush and hold it up about 2 inches away. And then just splatter a little bit around the bird like so. Maybe come in with a couple little sprigs of grass. I'm going to sign it. Roodoodles.com, Michael21. Nice signature. What am I doing? I'm rushing. That's what I'm doing. All right, because I got to get out of here this morning. I've got a meeting in just a couple minutes. But I want to show you one more thing on this white piece of paper before I go. So if you have white paper, here we go. I learned not to buy up gel pens. Yeah, they dry up. You bet. So just buy one and use it. June Jones, thank you. Good word. Don't go, ooh, I got a dozen of those. No, don't do it. Just get one, use it, and go back. You know, you got to go out someday to get tea and groceries and milk. And I keep 3 white pens all the time. Yeah, and Pat's different. She uses a pen a week. All right, here we go. Last little thing I want to paint. Take a look at this right here on white paper with a white pen. On black paper with a white pen. Take a look right here. Just throw some of this in here like this. Can you see that? I think what I'm doing is just making some marks. I'm leaving some white in there. I'm not trying to white the whole thing out. And then I'm going to come in here, come back here like this, come back in. Gets a little skinnier at the tail end. I feel that pen building up already. So I'm going to hit it on a paper towel. Look at that. I get clean. I'm going to come around with the point of my hook, come back a little bit, and do that right there. And I'm going to do a little bit of a sweep right here as it comes off the tail. Now, feathers have a little bits of thing, so I'm just going to go dot, 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 dot. Look at that. Oh, my gosh. Maybe put the fishing line on it. There it is right there. Roo. All right, let's go fish it. Voila. Okay. Any non-toxic white ink recommendations? No, I don't. I know very little about them, and so I don't even know what it's made out of. I should look that up and tell you. That's not being very responsive, is it? Responsible. Hey, love having you on the show. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being a part. The books are called Hey Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle. There's several out there. Amazon.com will get that book to you very quickly. Coloring books. Pat still has a few books, I think, but she's sending them out all over the country. And I love it. I think I have 5 or 6, maybe 7, maybe I have 10 on the desk here. If you wanted to go to Etsy, you could get one through me. Roodoodles, the coloring book is out. Take a look at that. But the best way, you could go to Etsy, and I'll be happy to get them here. Bonnie, thank you. Awesome white fly on black paper. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. Limit this. Hey, take a sip of tea right now and decide who you're going to send a note to right now and say blessings to you. All right. I got to send a text and I got to hop in my truck. And I tell it out here, create something today. I'll see you Saturday, maybe only for a short time. I think I'm on the road. I'm crazy right now. So I'm crazy all the time, but I'm really crazy right now. Blessings to you. Look on roodoodles.com if you want information on the books, or go to Amazon and type in Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle. It'll pop up and read about it. Pat did the art. I did the stories, and there's stories of why I say these things on the show. But today, have a limited palette. Just some paper and something light, and go out and sketch something. Don't give up the pencil yet, or for sure the pen. Sketch with the pen. The pen is mightier, as Jason says, than the umbrella, unless it's raining.